Hey everybody. Lately I've been getting a lot of questions for people who are getting ready to go to training or just wondering about training on how to pass tests and how not to get discouraged about passing tests. So this video is going to be talking about that. Later on, I'll do another video about resumes and there'll be some updates within that video as well. So let's just get into it about your test during training. Please do not get discouraged, worried, or frustrated that you may have all these tests to take. I took 10 tests. I failed my first test. I bombed my first test, like literally bombed it. I was going through a life change and I didn't really focus as much as I needed to, and I messed up. So I literally, after I failed it, I knew in my heart, I was like, if I passed, that was Jesus. But I knew Jesus could only do so much because I didn't prepare. My first week of training, we had a test the second day. So after I messed up, I sat with my trainers. They helped me out. We made a study guide because you have one retake. And if you fail your retake, you're removed from training. So we went over my tests. We went over the ones I knew and I didn't know. And then I literally made flashcards and reviewed everything that night. I had dinner in my room, no TV. I called my son. I called my significant other, and I was like, hey, love you bunches, but I have to stay tonight. And he understood. So that's what I did. So don't let it discourage you. People do mess up. We are all human. You just have to, it's how you react to it. Some people would mess up and then they would take it into the next test and mess up on that test. When I went to training, you could only fail 2 tests. If you failed a third test, you were removed from training, and then you could not fail a retake. So you had to at least get 85% or above. And if you didn't, that was technically considered a failing. So what I did every time I had a test, I knew my test dates on my syllabus. We legitimately had a syllabus and it had what we were going to go over, dates, and this, that, and other. So to prepare for a test, I took notes in class, made sure I had good notes. I compared my notes to my classmates, the people I was close to. I studied in groups with them, and then I also studied on my own. I would literally get dinner, eat dinner, study in the group, and then I'd go upstairs, run some bath water, get in the bathtub, and with my little notes. And what I would do is I would literally like hot dog bun fold it. Like the questions would be on this side and then the questions would be on the front and the answers would be on the back. So I'd go through each question and to see which ones I could answer and then highlight the ones that I was having trouble remembering. I would do that for maybe an hour at night, and then the next morning I would do the same thing to see if I had retained the knowledge from the night before. I literally would keep myself motivated. I didn't get discouraged. If there was something I wasn't understanding, I would ask my trainers before I took my test, and then I would go into my test. The morning before test, I would have breakfast, have my little cards. I had a playlist on my phone and my earbuds, and then I had my playlist was incorporated with a picture slideshow of my son. He was my prime purpose for needing to pass, so I made sure that I knew I needed to pass this, not only for myself and to continue on with this career that I really wanted, but I need to pass for my son. So I was like, I don't want to fail my son. My son's favorite song at the time was, Radioactive. And I would play it every morning I had a test because it made me think of him. Because when the song come on, he'd dance around and all this. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'd play Radioactive, Titanium, Flawless by Beyonce. It was just like this weird mix. And then my last song was Never Would Have Made It. So on from the time that I walked out of the door after I got dressed to eat breakfast, I'd say good morning to everybody. My earbuds would go in and they knew that was just shutdown mode for me up until after the test. When I sat down to my test, I made sure I had a pencil and scrap paper with me so I could like say if there was something that I needed to know numbers. I would literally be like, okay, this plane needs this many, this plane needs this many, this plane. I'd make a little chart, and um, if I was confused on a question, I would ask. We could ask questions. So I would ask and be like, I'm not understanding how this question is being asked. Um, so that's how I approach tests. I'm never afraid to ask questions so I can be successful. And then I am one of those people that is anything pertaining to your success, no question is a stupid question. So I would ask, I'd be like, this kind of, the verbiage is kind of weird, or, this, that, and the other. And they would be like, well, think about it, really think about it. So you go through your mental Rolodex and stuff you don't think you can retain, you retained. We had a week, it was the second week of training. That was literally hell week. We would study one day, have the test, learn something one day and have the test the next day. And then we'd still have to be able to learn procedural stuff as well. And so I tried to make sure that I took it one day at a time. That's all you can do, is take it one day at a time. And I had some great classmates that I'm still really close to, that we kept each other encouraged, and we would be like, who, this, that, another. If somebody was struggling, we did lose somebody that was really near and dear and close to our hearts, and that literally made us work even harder to make sure that we didn't lose anybody else that was within our family. So testing is something that is required. It's not something that you are going to get out of. Actually, I go to recurrent training on Monday. It's Saturday early morning-ish. I fell asleep way too early. I have to test to keep my job. So it's something we do every year. You have to be recertified. And it's like, when I spoke at a career fair a couple of weeks ago, I said, you think it's over after high school. If you don't want to go to college, you may think it's over after college, but all jobs tend to test you in one way or another. So never lose your study habits, never lose your ability to retain knowledge, never lose those important attributes of of building a successful life. So as of studying, just make sure you keep yourself encouraged. Make sure you sometimes you may not get the rest you need, but make sure you get some rest. Just make sure that, you are doing what you love. And remember, like, there's a common goal at the end of this journey. And my goal was to receive my wings. My goal was to go back to Texas to see my son and have him see me with my wings, and then me give him his, because I just could not imagine, working so hard to accomplish such a big deal and coming short because I didn't want to study, I wanted to sleep, or it was a season of Game of Thrones during training. There'd be days I'd be like, I really want to watch Game of Thrones. Yes, I'm that geek. I love Game of Thrones. Don't judge me. But I would literally be like, okay, I'll watch it when it reruns, or I'll watch it on HBO Go. I just had to get through all my tests. And on my last test, we were in uniform, and I was like, I refuse to go home taking a test in my uniform. I'm this close. I refuse it. I rebuke it. It's not gonna happen. And I end up making it. And now I'm here on my year and I'm getting ready to go to recurrent training. So it is quite possible to pass all your tests and not worry about it. So that is pretty much it about testing. If you have any questions, comments, or anything you need to know, don't feel free to email me. At the end of every video, there's my contact information, or you can leave it in the comment section. I'll be sure to reply. Also, what else is going on? Also, I also want you to remember to stay encouraged and not get discouraged. I'm going to do a video on resumes next as well. I keep promising you guys to do the makeup look for an interview. I'll do it this weekend. I'm trying to get ready. I'm getting ready to move. Me and my roommate are moving into a bigger place, so I'm prepping for that. So I will try to get it up this weekend while I'm off. And also, don't forget to stay fly. Love you guys. Bye.